Our entrance to Asia was through the city of Tokyo, the capital of Japan. A truly modern city by Western standards, as it was almost entirely rebuilt following World War II. Our hotel was in the Shinjuku district, which is noted for its fine hotels and upscale department stores. A standout among the impressive architecture in this area is the municipal government building. On the streets you get the feel of the city and a reminder that 12 million people live here. The high quality of the restaurants and shops is impressive. It becomes apparent to a visitor that many Japanese enjoy a high standard of living, even though Tokyo is one of the most expensive cities in the world. At night, the city becomes a sea of lights. The streets are alive with people out for a good time. This part of Tokyo is notorious for its numerous bars and nightclubs. On these streets are many who have just ended a long day at work. The Japanese work ethic far exceeds the standards we know. When their day's work is done, many must travel to other distant parts of the city. The Shinjuku rail and subway station is Tokyo's busiest, used by 3 million travelers every day. In the center of Tokyo, there is a 175-acre man-made forest. It surrounds a beautiful Shinto shrine dedicated to the memory of Emperor Meiji. It's a favorite of tourists and school children. Visitors approaching the shrine are invited to ceremoniously wash away their impurities. This act and the quiet beauty of the surroundings create the sense of being a holy place. The shrine honors the life of Emperor Meiji, who is credited with bringing Japan from a feudal state to that of a major world power. For that, his memory is revered by the Japanese. This site was chosen as it was a favorite place where the emperor and his wife loved to visit. Although an active Shinto shrine, it is often used for high-level conferences and weddings. Built exclusively of cypress, it is one of the finest examples of unique Japanese architecture. This beautiful and tranquil place leaves a visitor with a lingering sense of serenity. We next visit the Kannon Temple, the oldest Buddhist temple in Tokyo. It had its beginnings in the 7th century. People come to the temple to offer prayers to Kannon, the goddess of mercy. In the dimly lit temple, worshippers follow the ritual of tossing coins and selecting fortunes. On the grounds of the temple, we come upon the traditional Japanese dragon dance, where a team of dancers mimic the movement of the dragon known as the river spirit. It is one of the many reasons that people are drawn to this place. Clouds of smoke drift over the milling crowds, giving the scene a ghostly appearance. Many tourists come to see this, but most who are here are devout believers. The smoke rises from a huge incense burner. The faithful waft and draw the sacred smoke onto their bodies to heal and prevent sickness. Various ceremonies continue with fascinating displays of traditional music and dress. procession leads us to a connecting arcade called the Nakamisi, which is lined with restaurants and shops. Almost everything can be found here: food, clothing, chinaware, and an endless array of tourist novelties. Our tour took us on a scenic drive to the town of Kamakura, the site of the great Buddha. As you approach it, its head looms above the pine trees, and its eyes appear to follow your every move. This huge figure was cast in the year 12,052. It was originally inside a temple, but this was swept away by a tsunami tidal wave in the 15th century. Its size and artistic form have established it as a wonder of the ancient world. We next travel to the Hakone National Park and to the shores of Lake Ashi. We board one of the many tour boats for a pleasant sail across this picturesque lake that was formed 3,000 years ago. It is the caldera of Mount Hakone, an extinct volcano. This slender-shaped lake is 20 kilometers in circumference and is a favorite of fishermen and hikers. At the foot of Mount Hakone, we pass the orange gate of a Shinto temple hidden in the deep forest behind, one of the many interesting sights to be explored along the shoreline. A unique site which we did explore is the Great Boiling Valley, a reminder of this area's volcanic past and the fact that this country sits on the edge of the Pacific's ring of fire. The mountainside is spotted with active sulfur vents and hot springs. The harsh smell of sulfur is everywhere. It is a scene from Hades, yet it attracts large numbers of many who come to eat the blackened eggs, which have been dipped in the boiling waters, for it is said that this will increase your longevity by 7 years. We leave with a thrilling ride on a cable tramway. The view of the valley from that height was spectacular, and it was made more interesting as we had on board our tour director, Peter Fish, and our local Japanese guide. This was one of a series of enjoyable experiences on this tour that was so capably directed. This was an exciting way to end our day. We board the famous bullet train for our return to Tokyo. These high-speed trains are the best in the world. We exceeded 150 miles per hour with little sensation of speed inside this comfortable coach. To experience the culture of Japan, our group attended a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. The ceremony is the ritualized preparation and serving of powdered green tea. It had religious beginnings in the 14th and 15th century, influenced by Zen Buddhism, which is to live for the moment. The object of the ceremony is to focus the senses on the profound beauty of nature. It usually involves the serving of food as well as tea. The study of the requirements of the ceremony can take many years. The object is to bring intellectual and physical enjoyment as well as peace of mind to the participants. Many Japanese practice it, for it is a means of putting worries and worldly affairs aside. How lovely the ladies look. The wearing of the kimono, as we discovered, is an important part of the tea ceremony, as is poetry, flower arranging, and the art of calligraphy. Our many experiences in Japan included the introduction to various foods. On our day of departure, we were treated to a barbecue luncheon of traditional Japanese foods, which was obviously enjoyed by all of our traveling companions. As we prepared to leave for the airport, it seemed appropriate that our last remembrance of Japan was a stroll through a Japanese garden. These gardens are one of the intriguing aspects of Japan's culture. One cannot help but admire their timeless beauty. Their origins were influenced by their ancient religions, and they have become an important part of Japanese art. Through the harmonious mixing of trees, flowers, grass, and with rock, sand, and water, these gardens attempt to reproduce natural scenes of beauty. The goal is to produce a place of dignity and grace that encourages quiet reflection and contemplation. The views along the pathways and from the bridges are designed to create enjoyment in the small things of life that are easily overlooked in our fast-paced world. As we were about to say farewell to Japan, it was fitting that our final memory was that of such a beautiful, tranquil, and elegant place. We are left with the ancient advice that it is good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end.